Hi everybody, Adam, Group CEO, with business partner Dan Rogers, also runs the HDM Energies part. The reason we're having a general discussion today is because lots of the installers of the wholesale side are wanting to learn more about the HDM Energies proposition, and more importantly, what is it and what does it mean to them as an installer and also the end user. So we're just going to use a bit of a question and answer type scenario just to get as much information across to you as possible. So Dan, first and foremost, what is a PPA?
So a PPA stands for Power Purchase Agreement. And in short, that means that a power producing asset is going to be funded by somebody, in this case, HDM Energies, and the person who's receiving the asset is going to pay for it by paying for the energy that that asset produces. And it can be done on solar, it can be done on wind turbines across the industry. It's a very well used instrument, and the net outcome for the customer is that they don't have to pay the capital outlay for that power generating asset.
So nothing paid up front.
Correct. So for our business, it means that installers who are the customer of HDM Solar Wholesale can take the solar proposition that they are very well versed in selling to small and medium businesses and offer it to them without that business having to pay for it up front. We, in effect, become our installer's customer. So HDM Energy will provide the funding for that job.
Yep.
And we will then contract with the end user into a power purchase agreement where they agree to pay for the energy that that asset produces.
Yep.
Over the next 10 years. We fix the price for the entire 10 years, and it will be around about 30 to 50% cheaper than what they're paying to their grid supplier.
Interesting. So this sounds really good. So everybody's doing this right now.
So at the moment, it's been quite restrictive. There's quite a lot of complex legal documentation that has to go on behind the scenes. What we've managed to do, however, is navigate through that and produce all of our documents onto a template. So that means for an end user, this is as easy as signing up to a mobile phone contract, then just signing up to cheaper energy. And how they access the cheaper energy is by allowing us to come and put the solar asset on their roof. In effect, the power station is in the same place that the power is consumed. So we're getting rid of all of those transmission costs,
Yep.
the big expensive overhead of running a gas power station, for example, and simply plonking it right where that customer needs the energy.
And so from our installer's point of view, like what size roofs and what type of customers should they be attracting?
So the totally unique thing about HDM Energies and its proposition is the size and how small we will go. So you can take any roof from 40 square meters up and install 20 kilowatts and up.
Wow, so that's the lowest, 20 kilowatts.
Yeah, 20 kilowatts. So that opens up around about 2 million small and medium-sized businesses in the UK. Businesses just like ours. So this building that we're sat in right now is what, 10,000 square foot? Perfect. So
what type of industries, what we're looking at from our installers to go out and sell to?
Anybody and everybody. So any building that is occupied by a business that could fit at least 20 kilowatts of solar on the roof. The perfect industries are things like cold food storage, community centres, care homes.
So because they're using a lot of juice throughout the whole day or 24 hours sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's applicable to anyone. We've got customers from farms through to sports stadia, children's charities, fishing venues, you name it. I mean, it's very, very diverse.
And what's the criteria then for like a sports stadia, for example? So installer goes out, get some interest with a cricket club.
Yep.
What's the criteria for them? How does it move forward from there?
So the installer would do what they do anyway. So when they're selling solar, the only difference here is that the customer's not going to have to pay the capital outlay for it. We will. So making sure that the building is fit for purpose, that there is a genuine demand for the energy that's needed. An empty warehouse is no use, for example. And with the the electric bill that they would normally take from a customer when they're speccing up a job anyway. We can produce the exact same report that shows the saving, just like, Open Solar, PV Sol, or any of the other design tools that are out there would.
Yeah.
But we build in the energy price that the customer is going to have to pay.
Yeah.
And it will show them throughout the life of the system
Yeah.
where their savings are and what they're going to be.
So what's in it for our installers? Why should they go and sell this proposition?
Simply put, it's work. So right now, with a lot of the government funding schemes drawing to a close,
Go forward. Yeah.
exactly. They've probably got teams, lead gen agencies, processes, overhead that was running all of those schemes, and ours is very transferable from those schemes into ours. So you've got probably, well, our research said it was 71% of the market would want solar but couldn't afford or justify the capex for it. So you're opening up that entire area, like I said, 2 million potential customers out there. And most importantly, this is exclusive to HDM Solar Wholesale's customers.
Yep.
No one else in the market will be going after these customers. There is no other PPA fund that will fund 20, 30, 50 kilowatt systems.
Yeah.
And nowhere else can you access that other than through HDM Solar.
So tell us a bit more about this ecosystem. We keep hearing this word of ecosystem. What does it mean to be part of the HDM ecosystem?
Well, in short, by creating this amazing opportunity and making it exclusive, it means that HDM Solar will bring in hardware from our platinum partners. That will give us buying power. That will increase our volume. That will allow us to expand the service offering that HDM Solar does. HDM Energies will procure the hardware from HDM Solar and free issue it to the installation partner. HDM Energies will give the contract to that customer of the solar business, and around it goes in circles. So in what we're doing is we're introducing institutional funding.
Yeah.
We've got 100 million of funding from Paragon Bank, and we're introducing it into that ecosystem and ensuring that everybody that's part of the ecosystem is able to benefit from it and earn their living.
Yeah.
So whether you're an installer, you will earn your living from us funding those jobs that otherwise couldn't be funded. If we're a wholesaler, which we are, we then earn our living by trading in that hardware.
Yeah.
And for Energies, we earn our living by selling the energy for the next 10 years to that end user.
Okay. So how do our installers get paid?
So HDM Energies will pay them. We pay them within
Direct?
Direct.
Yep.
We pay them within 7 days of commissioning, so really short payment terms. But more importantly, we don't expect the installers to carry any of the financial burden throughout the installation process. So because we free issue the material from ourselves, the credit account, we're not going to consume any of our customers' credit because they don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So,
and what do they have to provide themselves then? Is it did you say something around scaffold,
labor, and the AC side?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Do they have to do the design?
Either. So we've got in-house design capabilities. So if they want to just simply hand it over to us and then let us do our thing, we can do everything from engaging with the end user, supporting them with the design, or we can arm them with the tools to do it themselves. So we're very, very flexible in that regard.
And what about if our installers go and employ lots of salespeople? Is there some form of commission or like how can they benefit from that as well?
Can be, yeah. So we've got we can introduce a referral fee for installers bringing us volumes of work. That's something that, if any of our customers are deadly serious about doing this in a bigger way, I'd highly recommend reaching out to the HDM Energies sales team. Liam, Rich, Dave P can all engage with them on that and come up with a structure that is fit for purpose. Most importantly, we want to reward and incentivize our customers to invest in our proposition.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a customer point of view, so I'm the owner of a cricket club, back to this one.
Yep.
How quick is that process? So I say, I really want solar on my roof. How quick does it take from me saying yes to getting it installed?
Yeah. So unlike big utility scale solar farms, which have to wait a decade for their grid connection, ours largely don't. I mean, it is subject to the DNO and they do vary across the country, but when we're installing a 50 kilowatt system, 99.9% of the time we'll hear back in 6 weeks.
Wow.
and we'll hear back with a yes, because it's quite uncontentious. It's not a major
Yeah.
installation. So end to end, I would say 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Interesting. And what about the roofs themselves then? So is it any type of roof, or is there certain types of roof that it's applicable for?
It all depends. So ultimately, the cost of the installation is going to be translated to the unit rate that the end user pays. So with a standard installation, taking an average market rate, the customers will be paying around about 18p, which is around about 30 to 40% saving on the current.
So they'll be paying 27 to 30 pence ish.
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And your offering at the moment is around 18-ish,
Ish.
approximately.
Correct. But back to your question about the roof. If we have a more technically complex roof, a particularly high building, difficult access, or asbestos or something like that, it doesn't preclude us from doing the job, but it just means that that cost gets built in, and then the customer might have to pay 20p, 21p.
Yeah.
And so there will become a tipping point
Yeah.
where it's not worth
Not
it.
worth it. Yeah. And what about the guarantees and things on the roof? What about like warranties or anything?
Yeah, so we carry £10 million of liability for all of our jobs that we do. We expect our installers to provide us with a 2-year workmanship guarantee for what they do, as well as to carry the appropriate warrant insurances
Yeah.
that they would expect to have for any job that they do.
Yeah.
Warranties on the product, we carry the manufacturer's warranties through. So on panels, it's 25 years. On our inverters, it's 10 years. And on the mounting, it's 10 years as well.
Yeah.
But because HDM Energies derives its income from selling the energy, we make sure that thing is working all the time.
Yeah.
The customer, the end user, doesn't have to, but it's also an added revenue opportunity for the long term for our customers. So because we've used them to install the system,
Yeah.
they then get the first right of refusal on the O&M, which is over maintenance.
Okay.
So annual safety checks, cleaning, inverter replacements, and all of that.
And what types of products are you putting out there? So what is the chosen panel and the chosen inverters? So they're free issued, you said, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So HDM Energies works with our platinum partners. So HDM Solar Wholesale, as you know, has a fantastic platinum partner scheme where we really champion the products of those manufacturers that join it. So today we're really proud to put in Solax, SunGrow, SunSync, and EcoFlow on the inverter side. Now these will be specified in a number of ways. Job specific. So some of our manufacturing partners have got a better range in certain areas. So SunGrow particularly excel at very large. Solax are brilliant in the small and medium size and commercial range. And EcoFlow, where aesthetics plays an important role for the customer. So it will be spec'd by any one of our platinum partners according to job requirement. On the panel side, we spec Astronergy, again, one of our platinum partners, 6th largest in the world, part of the Chint Group.
So all quality products, and we stand by the warranties. So just going back to the particular sectors, one of them, I know we've had a discussion privately regarding education.
Yes.
So tell us a bit more about that education piece.
So the HDM Energies proposition is the only of its kind to be approved by the Department for Education. So that gives our installers the possibility of approaching schools, academies, trusts, doesn't matter the structure of the school, and the schools are able to take us up on it. It's been really popular. And
But how does that look? So if you're an installer and I just walk into a school and say,
I wouldn't recommend that.
maybe not just walk in, but you're an installer and you've got some connection within a school. Is there a piece of paper? Is there a logo? Like, what is it that we can then tell them that we're on this?
Yeah, so there's a database as such where the Department for Education will provide the schools with the information that what we're saying is true. So when the school conducts its due diligence on the proposition, that will become apparent to the school. The school has to fill in a Form E, which I believe is sort of a permission slip, for want of a better word, because they are not allowed to take on debt and liability. So we've adapted our proposition ever so slightly into an operating contract, a non-exclusive operating contract, which is acceptable to the DfE. and allows the schools. And I must credit the team at Paragon for all their support and hard work with getting that over the line.
Yeah, and Paragon's the bank, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. So they're the bank that's given us 100 million to pay for all this.
British bank.
Yep. FTSE 250 listed bank, really forward thinking. They invented the buy-to-let mortgage, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
So it's their funds that we're deploying in this unique proposition.
So in terms of the installation piece, what is it that we're actually supplying? What's going on the roofs, or is it just the roofs, or is there other things?
Yeah, so we of course we do the solar. That's the core proposition. But as part of that, if the business is suitable and they want it, we will also fund EV chargers. So especially on public-facing businesses, gyms, cafes, farm shops, you name it.
And they can make money off that as well?
Yep. We'll do them on a revenue share, or we'll do them privately. So on a revenue share basis, it can be a great earner. One of our customers is earning over £1,000 a month extra revenue, and it's a small community football club.
Wow.
And so yeah, an extra £1,000 a month for them simply on EV charging is really game changing for them. We set our EV rates quite low. So for our DC fast charging, we set it at 39p. For any EV driver,
Wow.
that's cheap. When you get stung on the motorway,
89 pence I paid the other day, right? So 30 odd pence.
So they're very popular. They can increase footfall into the building, especially if they're a cafe or something like that.
Yeah.
Bringing people in for the cheap charging.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's been a real added bonus. One thing that's also, I think, quite unique to us is that in order to help the customer save the most they possibly can, we include batteries in nearly all of our installations. So it's expensive, but we do it for the right reasons so that those customers can maximize self-consumption. You can't always control when you as a business might need the energy. We all know that. But by putting that battery in, it cuts out the peaks and the troughs, stores it for later, and makes sure that every kilowatt that system produces is making meaningful savings.
Yeah. And just to pick up on something we discussed earlier about the fixed energy price. So there's a big discussion, geopolitics and energy independence. So this type of offering is a solution to all that?
It's one of the solutions. Yes, I think so. We fix the price for a decade. We don't index link it. So when you compare some of the older style large PPA agreements, if you take a decade-long contract and index link it, you would have to start at 6.5p to be cheaper overall throughout the life of the contract than ours. So a lot of the time, you see it in lots of contracts these days, your Sky TV subscription, your mobile phone, your broadband, all it says always plus RPI or CPI.
Yeah.
Well, we think that's wrong, so we've done away with it. So it just means that as inflation pushes energy prices up, lots of the studies out there from reputable institutions like Cornwall Insights and Modo suggest that we're going to be at around the 45p mark by the end of this decade.
Wow.
Means that those savings just grow and grow and grow in the customer's favor, which we think is brilliant.
Yeah. So at the moment, from a end user customer experience, do they just get an invoice from HDM, or how does it work?
Yeah, so you'll get an energy invoice just like you would from your incumbent energy supplier. So you will have everything used from the grid. You don't change your energy supplier there. You don't do anything at all. You're free to choose whoever you want to be with, and you will receive the bill from them for all of your overnight consumption and anything that the solar can't do on a rainy day, for example. You'll then get a second bill from us for the solar energy that you consumed. So as simple illustration is, if you previously consumed 100 kilowatts from supplier A at 30p a kilowatt, you'll have your bill for 30 quid. When you contract with us, we will size the system to try and cover around about 60% of your energy need.
Okay.
So you will have a bill for 40% of your energy from that supplier A at 30p. And then for 60%, you will have a bill from us at 18p. And so your net saving overall will be around about 30%.
Interesting.